You know, I like going on nightly walks. Usually beginning anywhere between now, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard, anywhere to like, I don't know, it could be as late as like 10 or 11 p.m. that I would go out for a walk, starting it traditionally. And where I'm living currently, I walk up a street that has a 7-Eleven on it. And for the past month or so, when I've been walking by the 7-Eleven at nighttime, I have been hearing a strange noise, which sounds kind of like, well, it sounded like opera to me. Kind of, let me describe it. Sounds kind of like this, like, just on repeat, right? So I thought it was just a stupid commercial that they, you know how the gas stations have those little like commercials, like sound like radio. Sometimes they have a television screen in there and it's like just little dumb advertisements for the gas station or something that may be sponsoring them, paid advertisements and things like that. Well, when I walked by at nighttime, I would hear that, whatever stuff. And I thought it was just paid advertisement. I thought that it was just an advertisement that they played ridiculously frequently that I just happened to catch every time that I walked by. And it wasn't like, I was like, oh, maybe it's on a timed schedule. Because usually I will walk by in generally the same time, but not always. And when I walked by at a different time and still heard it, I was like, okay, well, maybe they just play it really frequently. Not something that I had in the forefront of my mind, essentially. Until today, when I happened across one article, and it was actually two in total that I've seen thus far now, where the first one I saw, I'm pretty sure it was on Say Cheese's Twitter page. And they said that, I guess a 7-Eleven in a specific state, it was like Arizona or something like that, 2 7-Elevens have decided to start using opera music in order to deter homeless people. They blast opera music in order to deter homeless people from, just staying at the gas station. And I saw the first article of that. Give me one moment. I'm going to be talking to you guys while I stir my sauce that I'm making. I saw the first article of that, and I, immediately obviously correlated that to what was going on at the 7-Eleven near where I live. And I said, oh, okay. So that's what 7-Eleven is deciding to do. And I then saw, just like an hour or so ago, another article that said one 7-Eleven was deciding to play this music to get the homeless people away, basically. And this is poor reporting. And I know that this seems like it's actually not important, but let me tell you why this is actually one of the more important stories going on right now compared to, everything with the Biden documents, all of that stuff. Everybody mad about, the freaking statue from Boston. This is much more important than all of that. And let me explain to you exactly why. The Biden documents are going to be what they may, and they're going to get dealt with in due timing. It's, it's breaking news. It's important news, but not much can be done about that by the average person, and it doesn't impact the average person's day-to-day in a quantifiable measure too heavily. But when we're talking about the 7-Eleven and the articles that are coming out about 7-Eleven using this new method of deterrent for homeless people, it's important that they're saying that this is a company thing and not individual locations that are deciding to do this for multiple reasons. One, 7-Elevens are franchise companies, meaning that obviously the business, the brand that is 7-Eleven, sets up locations through individual franchise owners who own one or several stores, several of their locations, and operate them according to a set standard of principle and measures, based off of what their brand's guidelines determine. And then they, of course, make their money off of it. When you sit there and you say, that one or a few 7-Elevens in a specific area are making the decision to play opera music to deter homeless people, that is shifting the responsibility of that decision from the brand in total to a franchise owner. If people in their community read an article that says their franchise owner decided to start blasting music to keep homeless people away from their store, they may feel a way about that, and they may react in a certain way to that information, which is not fully true. You know why I know that? Because I live in Tampa, Florida. Tampa, Florida, not Arizona, where I saw the original article. And the second article I saw, I didn't read the actual article, but it didn't even disclose the location of the one 7-Eleven on the planet in the title that made this update to the music that it plays, or it's the methods. So if people are under the impression that individual franchise owners are making this decision to deter homeless people, some people don't like that, and will make irrational decisions or just decisions, whether rational or irrational, based off of this information, and it's inaccurate. And that's not fair to the franchise owners, especially if it's a brand decision. If it's not a brand decision and it is a franchise decision, I can at least tell you as much that it's not these individual franchises that they are isolating in these articles. It is a option for franchises across the brand, obviously, to do. And if they're doing it in Arizona and they're doing it here in Florida, then that means that there's some type of board meeting or something where they discuss that, hey, this is an option that is working at these locations. Is it in line with the brand of 7-Eleven in order to allow different franchise locations to play opera music to keep homeless people away from their store? If the brand says that is okay, then that is not the franchise's issue. Fully. If the brand says it's okay, but it's still up to the franchises to make the decision whether or not they want to play opera music to deter homeless people, yes, that would mean that the franchise owners are still responsible for the decision to do so. But it's a shared responsibility. I don't believe that they deserve to be targeted for making this kind of a decision. I don't think that it's very responsible for journalists to write about this kind of a story as if it was the specific choice of one specific store owner of one specific or two specific 7-Elevens. And let me know, like I'm saying, if you understand where I'm going with this, you may think that I'm blowing it out of proportion when I say that it's more important than those other stories that I'm describing. But I think that it's just as important in the way that we report on something like opera music played to deter homeless people from chilling and soliciting or loitering at gas stations. I think that is actually important information to know who is making that decision there when we know how sensitive people are about homelessness in today's society. I think that honestly, those journalism outlets, the media companies who I read the articles from, did that with the ambiguity of the title in order to get people to click on it more, maybe. Or maybe it's limited information that they knew about it. You know how quickly people are so quick to break news that they don't actually know how accurate the information that they're breaking is. And they don't have to worry about that because it's all about the amount of clicks that you get. And if you're the first news story on it, you'll get the most clicks. And guess what? If you get to create another story talking about corrections, that's just more clicks for these people. They don't actually care about the damage that's done from the misinformation or the people who potentially see the first story who don't see the second story. None of that matters to them. It's all about clicks. So click and watch this video while I continue to misinform you, and have a great rest of your week.